Hi everyone, this is Tony. There's a video that came out from the Vatican. It had to do with the Pope meeting the President of France, I believe it was, and I had been sitting on it for a couple of days, but I decided to finally just give my 2 cents about it, and because it sort of ties in with a meeting that the Pope had with Barack Obama some time ago. I don't even remember when this happened, but it happened. So because it's kind of relevant, I'll touch on this a little bit also. But let's just call this symbolism in our face here. And the first thing that I want to address is, well, what I'll do, here's what I'll do. I'll point out a few things that I noticed in the videos, and then I'll explain some of the symbols, and afterward I'll just play you the videos and let you watch them without any commentary or anything. That'll be at the end of the video. But okay, so moving on. The first thing that I want to point out about Barack Obama's meeting with the Pope is that he had the gifts. It seems like the gifts that they always give to each other are really significant. Um, they may not seem so, but so let's look at Barack Obama's gift. He gave the Pope seeds, and not only seeds but carrot seeds. And since the let's say Mary is the same as Gaia, who is Mother Earth, when you give Mother Earth seeds, it's like you're fertilizing her. So, that would be in my mind the best gift to give the Mother of Harlots, or the best gift to give the Mother Earth. That would be seeds. So, not only seeds, but carrot seeds. And carrot seeds, well, you know how we believe bunnies eat carrots a lot, right? And bunnies are fertility symbols. So, um, the significance of the first gift is that they are for fertilizing the Mother Earth. And he, Obama also made mention of having a garden, and the Pope having a garden, and he offered to show the Pope his garden as well. And we can reasonably assume that the garden is sacred to the Mother, um, the garden or the grove. And he also mentioned something about the wood that the boxes was made up were made out of, and um, he didn't say specifically what type of wood, but it was it was still sort of worth mentioning there that that the wood is also tied to Mother Earth as well, especially the cedars of Lebanon. But he didn't mention what type of wood it was. He just said that it came from a cathedral, or I can't remember exactly what he said now. But moving on. So when the Pope meets, well, recently he met the president of France, right? And so what the president brought him was um, a bowl, and not only a bowl, but it was a blue bowl. And for okay, so if you've seen the video about Baphomet, you know that the red symbolizes the masculine and the blue symbolizes the feminine. And so the blue bowl is a reference to not only the feminine but the womb, since it's a bowl. And a bowl is also called a vessel, or it's a container, and that is a reference to the womb and to the goddess herself. And what the Pope gave the president was a I forgot I forgot what the statement was called, but it said, it was a reference to Isaiah, where it says the desert will become a garden. And once again, we have a reference to the garden again, and that is of course significant because of Mother Earth. And so what I will do here next is explain this the significance of the bowl and the cup and the chalice, and how it relates to the womb. and also get in a little bit into the what we have, the Super Bowl, not just Super Bowl, but stadiums and all that. And I'm not working with a script here, so I'm kind of just all over the place. So if you notice that our football stadiums are often shaped like a bowl, or yeah, a bowl, and that is because they are supposed to be symbolic of the womb. And I forgot that I did make a few notes here, so I'll read you some of these notes that I made. Football stadiums are often bowl shaped, and some even have domes to cover them. Not only are these symbols of the womb, but the Super Bowl and Rose Bowl are events conspicuously named in reference to the female deity, with the rose being sacred to Venus. And as you know, if you've also seen the video on the Vesica Pisces, the fish and the dove and the apple and the mirrors and other symbols are also sacred to Venus, so keep an eye out for those. And so we have the Rose Bowl. That is sort of obvious. That is the, like I just mentioned, the rose is sacred to Venus. and and you also have the Superdome, which is, I don't even know what it is. Is that Texas? I don't know, but obviously womb symbolism there. And if you notice, the football that the teams under the dome in the womb are fighting for is oval, and that is an ovum or egg. And looking at the symbols of the Vesica Pisces again, and in an egg here, I want to point out also in the Ford logo you have the blue oval, and the blue is feminine, like I said, and the oval is a symbol of the egg, the oval or the ovum, and it's also similar to the shape of a Vesica Piscis, which is the two circles interlocked or intersecting each other, and that is supposed to be a symbol of the let's call it the private area there. And you often notice that the the deities like the like Jesus, right, or even the Mother Goddess or whoever, is often found in paintings in that shape, in that symbol. And it's, if you don't recognize what that symbol is, you don't know that it represents the goddess there. So even if you don't see her in the picture, her symbol is right there with the god in the center of it. And so notes on the oval from etymology online basically, uh, fit from 1570s, from modern Latin ovalis, egg shaped, source of French oval, 1540s, literally of or pertaining to an egg, from Latin ovum, egg, see ovary. The classical Latin word was ovatus. So the Vince Lombardi trophy and the football are all oval shaped. So they are essentially an egg inside the womb, and I guess you could look at the male football players as the sperm battling over the egg inside the football stadium. As gross as that might sound, but and not only that, but since we're on the subject of the football players, but the athletes, if I'm not mistaken, athletes gets its word root in Athens or Athena, who was the goddess of wisdom and war. I'm not. I have to double check, but yeah, she was a war goddess too. And so anyway, moving on to Notre Dame or Notre Dame. On top of the University of Notre Dame, you have the Golden Dome and the serpent beneath the Madonna's feet up there. And you know, of course, the serpent is, she is the serpent. But anyway, so Notre Dame or Our Lady, the alma mater or virgin nurturing mother of many. And another form of a vessel or a bowl is a boat, and we saw that in the ISIS video, or the what was the name of that video? I can't even remember. Dark Horse, in the Dark Horse video with Katy Perry, and where she was ISIS, and she was surrounded by the other feline forms of herself, who are not Nat. I can't remember the name. I don't know, it's slipping my mind right now. It's late. So, and that's the guy that's the name, Anat. And so anyway, we have here Isis on the vessel, the boat, which is a symbol of the goddess. And I want to also point out, and the title of the video was pretty interesting too. Dark Horse. That's the winner that you don't the one that you don't expect to win, or essentially the dark horse would be the goddess in this, because the world would not be expecting her to come. But anyway, moving on, the chalice or the cup or the Holy Grail is symbolic of the vessel that the holy blood is contained in. This holy blood refers to both the liquid in the womb and the child within the womb. And so the whole point of Babylon having that golden cup is that, well, that golden cup represents their goddess. And Mary Magdalene, you'll also notice, if you search for Mary Magdalene, you'll often find her in pictures holding a cup or a vessel in her hand, or just having one nearby. So Mary Magdalene is tied to the Holy Grail. Mary was seen as the avatar of the great goddess because Mary was the name of Jesus' mother and of the woman falsely believed to be his wife. The Queen of Heaven is the mother and lover of her own son, the sun god. So you know what they say about not just Semiramis, but all the other goddesses, that they have a son, he dies, and then he becomes the sun god, and then he impregnates her again somehow, some sort of miraculous virgin birth, and then she rebirths him into the world again, and either she has incestuous sex with him, or he dies again, and he gets rebirthed. And it's a process of death and rebirth, but she's always the mother and the lover of the sun god. And I guess this partly came about because while the sun always rose and set, of course when it goes into the underworld it becomes a black sun, but Saturn. So when the sun was constantly dying and being reborn in the morning, the one constant was the earth. The earth never went anywhere. The earth was always eternal. That's part of the reason why the goddess represents the earth, and that's why the goddess is eternal, because the sun dies, he's born and he dies, but the earth is always there. And so we see that the worship of the chalice or vessel is goddess worship, and we think, well, the Catholics reverence the golden cup because it contains the blood of Jesus. Well, maybe not. Maybe they reverence the golden cup, or they hold it in the high esteem because it represents their mother, their harlot mother, or the mother of the gods, or the mother of abominations, as the Bible will call her. And okay, so that's it. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Thank you for watching the video, and Jesus bless you.
The president arrived outside the papal library, where the Pope greeted him in the small throne room. Photographers snapped their pictures when they were joined by translators for a private meeting. After their meeting, the president and the Pope exchanged gifts. The Pope gave the president a copy of his papal letter, The Joy of the Gospel, in which he calls for a church that is poor and for the poor, and the president offered this.
Some seeds for the garden. These, I think, are carrots. So each one has a different seed in it. The box is made from timber from the first cathedral built in the United States. So if you have a chance to come to the White House, we can show you our garden.
Pope Francis on Wednesday afternoon received French President François Hollande in a private audience. The meeting, in the presence of an interpreter, took place in the papal studio next to the Paul VI Audience Hall and lasted approximately 40 minutes. President Hollande was accompanied on his visit to the Vatican by the French Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve and the French Ambassador to the Holy See, Philippe Zeller. In an exchange of gifts following the meeting, President Hollande gave the Pope a piece of porcelain from the city of Sèvres with the emblem of France. The Holy Father, in turn, gave the French president a round bronze sculpture by artist Daniele Fusco, which represents the prophecy of Isaiah, "The desert will become a garden." Pope Francis also offered to President Hollande copies of the encyclical Laudato Si and of the apostolic exhortations Amoris Laetitia and Evangelii Gaudium. After the private audience with the Pope, President Hollande met with the Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin. Responding to reporters' questions prior to the meeting, the French president had expressed his gratitude to the Pope for his words after the terrible trial of the murder of Father Jacques Hamel and after the attack in Nice. He described the Pope's words as a great comfort.